All right, and it looks like social media is on our side and working well. Welcome everyone. We are here with Bob and Lucy from Voice Found. My name is Maria. I'm the director of the Gatehouse. We're going to start off with a land acknowledgement for Toronto. We acknowledge that the land that we are meeting on is the traditional territory of the many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many First Nations, including Inuit and Métis peoples. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. And Lucy, if you could do the land acknowledgement from your lovely location, that would be amazing.
Okay, we acknowledge that we live on unceded Algonquin Anishinaabe territory. The people of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation have lived on this territory for millennia. Their culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. We honor the peoples and the land of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lucy, for doing that land acknowledgement. We're so happy to be here. I'm going to switch to gallery view so we can see everyone all at the same time. So again, my name is Maria. I'm here with Bob and Lucy from Voice Found, and I'm wondering, and we're going to be talking about inner child healing. As such, sometimes during these sessions, it may be triggering for some folks to hear some of the information that is shared. Please do what you need to do to feel safe and grounded. Sometimes that includes holding a teddy bear or a grounding object, pulling away from the screen if you need to, detach from the session, close the window if you have to. You can always see it later on Facebook. It is being streamed live to our Facebook page, the Gatehouse Child Abuse Investigation and Support Site. I'm going to ask if Lucy or Bob, whoever would like to get us started, maybe talk about what you do at Voice Found to start off with, and then what is inner child healing. We'll get into that discussion.
Thank you, Maria. I want to thank the Gatehouse and you, your amazing team, for inviting us once again to this conference. We're so honored to be here. So a little bit of my background. So I am a peer supporter. I'm a trained peer supporter, and I am the program manager at Strength Found, which was launched in 2020. We've discussed this in previous sessions, which is a brand new program, and it was launched during the pandemic, which was a bit of a challenge, but as things are opening up for us. We've learned to go with it, go with the flow. So Bob, your turn.
Yes, I'm also a peer support facilitator working with Lucy at Voice Found. I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and I've been in recovery for about 25 years. I feel better now. I still have my moments, but at least now I'm able to give back to the system and help people that are in the same boat that I am. Because peer support, as you probably know, it provides a non-judgmental ear. We can walk with our peers, we can share with our peers, and they know that they are no longer alone, and we share our lived experiences. That's how we do that. Lucy.
Thank you. So we'd like to start the discussion by reminding everyone that we'll be speaking as peer supporters and with lived experience, and that we're not therapists. This is extremely important for us, that we'll only be sharing our experiences as well as those of our peers that we have supported within our program. Our work as peer supporters does not replace the work of therapists. On the contrary, we work alongside with them. For those who have the opportunity to have a therapist, we work alongside with them. This work is really hard work, and it should be done with the support of a therapist. As I said previously, if you're lucky enough to have one, and we're very aware that many of us do not have access to one, and or to work with the support of a trusted friend, a peer supporter, or within group. In the discussion, Bob will be sharing his own experience as well as the men that he has supported in both his one-on-one support and as within the groups. And I will be sharing my experience in supporting, well, first of all, my own lived experience as a survivor of CSA, but also all the people that I have supported throughout this program. And the one thing I want to ask is that please be do not hesitate in asking questions. We welcome the questions, and Maria will hopefully be able to interrupt us. We do not mind being interrupted with questions or comments, because that's the best part of these conferences, is the interaction with everybody. Bob.
So inner child work is a very important part of our healing journey as survivors of children's sexual abuse. It helps us look back at the early wounds without judgment. It allows us to go back and identify these wounds that were not healed. And through this process, we learn to react to situations as adults instead of reacting out of trauma. Our reactions through our lives as survivors were always ways and reactions that we learned as children, or we developed as children to help us to cope. And now as adults, they no longer seem to serve us. It's amazing how the child can protect us when we're going through things that we cannot handle emotionally, physically, mentally. And it puts up these coping mechanisms, and they have worked, because we're still alive today. And we're finding now, though, that they become counterproductive because they're not appropriate to an adult's way of being. They get upset with us when we get down on the floor and throw tantrums now, right? So through this work of connecting with our inner child, we start the healing process and reconnect with that innocent joy and excitement we feel as a child. So how we do this is we in our groups, we run a guided meditation, basically getting people to be relaxed and to go to a place that was safe for them as a child. And we reintroduce them to their child. They actually meet their child in this process. It's very powerful work. So it's not easy work, and it's scary work. Many men have never felt or explored their feelings. And in fact, society has helped raise most men to be strong, take care of their problems, not ask for help, and not even feel. You know, we were told boys don't cry. And so we were also chastised if we got angry. We weren't allowed to have emotions. I think a lot of that is common for women as well. So oftentimes when men come into the inner child work, they're looking at things that they've never looked at in their life. They're opening boxes for the very first time. And sometimes it's very surprising what's inside those boxes, both to the person who's going back and opening the boxes, and it is to us as facilitators too. It's not predictable. We never know what's going to happen, right? So my own experience of going back and meeting my child self, yes, I was anxious and scared to do it. But what amazed me was I met myself at the age that I was abused in a place that was very safe. And I had a conversation with myself, and the little boy talked about how afraid he was and how anxious and how alone he felt. It brought me right back to those feelings that I had for a lot of my childhood, and it just brought them into my face, right? So I was able to reassure him and say, yes, it's okay to feel that way. It's normal to feel that way. You've got a lot on your shoulders, but it's not your fault, and I'm here now. So I'm going to walk with you, and whenever you need help, I'll be here to be at your side, which was new for my child, because I'd never had that before, right? I found it was a loving experience. It was a relief to meet that child and to take care of that child as I would my own children. Very powerful. With the men in our groups, we never know what's going to happen. And some of the men can't connect at all with their inner childs. They're just not open. They're just not able to. They're afraid to feel the feelings that they had when they were children. And sometimes they react with anger and pushback, because it's easier to be angry and push back than it is to go and feel those emotions that they've been running away from all their life, right? But in order to heal, we have to get in touch with those emotions. We have to get in touch with those feelings so that we can understand. So most of this pushback and anger comes from fear. And often feeling that fear and feeling that pain is harder than actually doing the work to get better. So we never know. When we do this exercise with men, it's unpredictable. Some reactions are very powerful. Sometimes we need to stop the group session and just go back to grounding to get everybody calmed down and back into the here and now and present. So, yeah, that's it for now. Lucy, would you like to jump
Bob,
in?
I wanted
Yes.
to ask you, what did you find for you as a facilitator the most challenging in doing the inner child work
With the groups,
with the groups?
dealing with the anger. A lot of men have a lot of anger, and they don't know any other reactions, some of them. Anger and pushback. And some of the anger can be pretty malicious when they get angry. So I always grew up not liking confrontation. So
Mm,
that's uncomfortable for me still, right?
yeah,
But at least now we're learning that some people, some men and some people are just not
Yeah.
ready to do this work.
yeah. There's
And
pushback. There's strong
there's
pushback.
strong pushback, and we have to take them aside sometimes and, ask them to not react with so much anger in group because it upsets the others.
Mhm,
We have to treat the group as the client
mhm,
as well as the individuals
mhm,
as the client. So it's a balancing act to
mhm.
do both. We can't forget the individual, but we can't jeopardize the group's process because of one individual, if you think. We've had some men that are angry, some men that swear they're not angry, but they just want to debate every word in the program because why is this word in there? And what does that mean? And it's just like, sure, we're open to discussing, but we're not going to throw the whole group on the tracks because we're debating the meaning of certain things and why they're there, right?
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you.
There's a question, Lucy, for Bob. Bob, for you personally and for the men in your group, what did you find the most frightening, and how did you process or deal with this for yourself and the group of men in your group?
I think men have not practiced touching and feeling their emotions. And it's really scary for them to do that for the first time. A lot of men have lived their life knowing, I feel good, I feel bad, maybe I feel horny, that type of thing. But as far as defining what that feeling really is it love? Is it anxiety? I had a very difficult time in my recovery because I thought anxiety and fear were the same thing.
Mm,
Because I lived with both of them. I just assumed it was the same, but it's not, right? But it's
mm.
scary to open yourself up and crack that shell that we have developed as men. It doesn't feel like normal place to be.
And to touch into what you just said about not knowing and understanding their feelings and all that, because there's something that, society, the village, whatever you want to call it, has always never opened that door, allowed men to be open with their emotions and that. Someone that is very dear to me that I've known for many years shared with me their worry, their anxiety. And I remember turning and saying, "You're anxious?" And I said, "I've known you for 14 years. Why haven't you ever shared that with me? What have you done with this anxiety in all those years?" He said, "Kept it to myself. I didn't know I could talk about it, that I could share that with you." And it's like, and once that there's that opening, it's like the whole conversation is totally different. It's like now it's like there's a freedom. There's a freedom. So it's always wonderful when somebody who has bottled up their emotions finally does just, you know, pop open and release. To
Mhm.
me, that's like a moment, an aha moment, or like explosions. Like I find in groups, I just want to share that in groups, I think both, I don't know if the men do that, but I know that the women, they love the emoticons on the Zoom. That's when all those little like explosions of celebration, when somebody has a big aha moment, all the little pop, 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 all those little emoticons come up. So I
That's
think
funny.
that's great.
Cool. So back to you, Lucy.
Thank you. So from my own experience, I found that it was brand new. I had never done inner child work. I'd actually had never even heard of that, even though I had had therapy as a child and as a teenager and and as an adult in dealing with different issues and all that. But it was interesting that for me, it never been brought up to do inner child work and that. So as I started to do this work, as I was preparing to do the work with Strength Found and that, and reviewing the material and all that, and when we did our training sessions along with Maria in the Gatehouse, when we did the inner child work, it was like, wow, it just was so amazing for me. It was an experience that I had no idea what to expect, absolutely no idea. And it was a really, truly frightening experience, but at that moment, it was the connection was, as you had, Bob, it was a wonderful, loving connection for me. And to be able to go back and to hold her dear to me and to cherish her, to let her know she's safe, and you know, and all those wonderful things that the child needed at that moment to move forward and to heal. But for me, and I didn't realize the power of that inner child work that I have been doing, because even in sessions, as we do, every time we do the program and every time we're entering and we redo the program, I myself find myself going back and going back into my inner child, going back and reconnecting with her and understanding the importance of that. Once that door, that portal's been opened, that we can go back whenever we need to. So things in our lives will come up, and we need to go back and reconnect to the inner child and give the child, whatever age the child is, that nourishing protection and love and safety that they require. And for me, I had an experience that never thought I never thought this was going to happen. I was in a meeting, in a training meeting, and something was said. And even though all my experience as a peer supporter, trained and everything, facilitator, I got triggered and I didn't expect it. And it was in front of my, you know, my whole team and everything else. It was wonderful because I didn't feel shame, didn't feel anything, excused myself, said, I've been triggered. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I disconnected completely. And I went naturally, not even forced, went right back in, found exactly the age where that young Lucy was triggered, went back, told her, I'm so sorry you went through that. I'm here now. We're all good. And within 5 minutes, and it's like I went right back, came back into the training and everything. So this is something that I often share within our groups, that once you get to a certain level and you do have that connection, you can go back anytime at any occasion. It doesn't have to be a 30-minute process. You can do it quite fast, and it's very, very soothing. So within the women's groups, very, very similar to what Bob was sharing with the men's group, there's often things that present. So there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of fear, you know, and now you can hear all that, like, as we say, the body keeps the score. You can see the physical things coming up. Migraines are happening, anxiety, panic attacks, digestive issues, you know, and we know that, and we're all there to support them, you know, throughout the day prior to the first meeting. And that there's a lot of one-on-one support. Sometimes it's with phone calls, sometimes it's just with text. We know we got you, we're here for you, and all that. So it's just so that they know, because it is frightening, but it's a very, very powerful thing. And those that are able to, to carry on, we applaud them with everything that goes on. So, and also, as Bob said, not everyone will connect with their inner child, but we do encourage them to be very kind to themselves, to not judge themselves, if this didn't happen, and that we will gladly take the time to reconnect with them at a different time and different situations, different settings, and do it one-on-one with them if they're open to doing that, so that they can explore their inner child with their peer supporter.
We have a question. What do you say to
Yes.
someone, man or women, who don't make the connection to the inner child when doing the meditation? Would you like to take that one, Lucy? I think you just
Yeah.
partially answered
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Well, we encourage them to not lose hope, because this is something, because they feel shame. There's something wrong with them. I'm not connecting. They do all that. I could list the all things. Did you find that also, Maria, in groups when that happens with you? Yeah. So what we do is we invite them. We'll talk with them afterwards. Maybe not that night, but the next day we'll reconnect with them and talk and share with them that this happens. It could be for many reasons that people are not in a place of, they don't feel safe yet. They don't feel they can trust themselves or their surroundings for whatever reasons, and there's no judgment there. And that's why we invite them to maybe at a different time, because oftentimes it's what's happened to them in that day, that they're just not there.
And sometimes it's good for them to realize that they're just not ready to do this work, that it's a process, it's a journey, and it happens over time. And if they're not ready, they're not ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't push or force something. That's the other thing, that we cannot force, they can, like, I could not force myself to do this kind of work. It has to, if my inner child doesn't come to me at a moment that I feel I have to bring up, I don't force. Then that's the whole thing, is to not judge yourself, to be very kind to yourself. Maria, can you add anything else that we didn't touch on?
Thanks, Lucy, and thanks, Bob, for sharing all that you've shared thus far. And thanks, Stuart, for asking that question. Yes, there's a lot of people that do come to our program who don't make the connection to the inner child. Sometimes there's a lot of anger towards the self. There's self-blame that may surface for people as they're doing this work. And sometimes it's the very first time where they're noticing how much they blame themselves for the abuse, and how much, if they have returned to the abuser, they blame themselves for that, knowing that it was wrong, but yet they still return to the abuser because it felt good, or the attention, they liked the attention that they were receiving from the person. So it's really interesting to see like all the different reactions that each one of us can have in these sessions. And again, empathy, patience, self-love, self-kindness, really important as you're going through this process of inner child healing. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. And as Bob touched, that many of our survivors, are not ready, and they're not in a good place to do this, because this is all very self-directed. The more you put in, the more you will get out. But, we also have to respect everybody's place in their time and their life experience and all that. And they are so anxious that when it comes to doing the inner child work, that they pull away. They pull away and they decide to drop the program. But what's beautiful about that is that we're very lucky and happy when they are ready to redo the program. We invite them to redo the program at the best time for them. Sometimes, as I find, especially with the pandemic, there were so many things happening at home with the kids, work related, and a lot of extra anxiety, mental health challenges, services not being able to access and all that. So this is where, when they redo the program, they are so, they come back in with a different feeling, because now they don't have the same anxiety and fear. They know what's going to come up for them. And when they do redo the program and are able to go into with the inner child, they can go in even deeper. So some people do redo the entire program because they want to go in without fear, without anxiety, and just go in on a deeper level. And that's what everybody says when they come back in, because sometimes some survivors go, hey, if this was so good, how come you're back again? And the survivors are always right there to say, I want to go in a few layers deeper, and process this even more, without the anxiety that I had within the first time around. Is there a question that came up?
Stuart says I think it's Stuart, was able to connect. I was able to connect once. I had tried a couple of times and with the right facilitator. That's true, Not everybody connects with the facilitator. Somebody may not like me for
Bob.
whatever reason.
What?
Hard to believe. I understand. Hard to believe.
But it's true.
But personalities are what they are, and we have to be open and accepting. For instance, I've done one female group of women, and now I haven't because women are not comfortable having men sometimes in there as a facilitator, right? So we're very conscious of where they are and honor that fear or that request, just to try and make the place as safe and as comfortable as we can, because that's prime. It has to be safe.
Yes, very, very important. And the other thing I wanted to share also is that when some of the survivors that have come back, that what they have found is that was really powerful for them was to be able to meet their inner child at a different age and to reconnect at a different age. And I always find that so powerful. So in groups, I'm always so excited when we're going to do the inner child. And I know it's always like a little surprising to the group as we're all on Zoom and all that. And I'm all pumped and excited. And they're going, Lucie, why are you so happy? And I said, oh, I always find it like it's a new adventure. Like this is going to be an adventure and we never know what's going to come up. So for me, that's always I'm always filled with hope, and joy to see and to hear their stories, and accepting that all connections may not be also happy ones. So, we can't have too much expectations as survivors that we're going to connect with a loving child. We may have a child that is very resistant, that doesn't want to, like you have to reconnect with them, learn, help them trust you, who you are and everything else. But it's only through love and compassion that we can be there and letting them know that they're safe and not push anything upon that child as we reconnect with them. For those moments, but there's something that we have to respect and we share with everybody. And also, as they're going through the program, we do always make sure that they understand that we're here for them to connect, because this is hard emotional work. And we always called, because our women's groups are on Tuesday nights. So we always tell them to not plan huge activities if possible on Wednesdays, because Wednesdays we call it our little emotional hangover day, and that we clear our schedules for them, so that they know that, like, whoever the facilitators are, which is usually Charlie and myself, we have Wednesday mornings and Wednesday afternoons pretty clear. We keep our schedule clear and open for any of those things that may come up for them to be able to, process in a safe place. Because as we said, it's wonderful to do it in group, but afterwards, when you shut down and you're by yourself with your thoughts and that, and you may not have had a good night's sleep, and you may be you're spinning and all that and thinking, and sometimes maybe overthink things and all that. That's okay. We're here for you to have additional support.
And it's important too, because like in the men's reactions to their inner child work for the first time, we have at one extreme, we'll have the loving, caring introduction to the child that went very well and it was important to the people. To the opposite extreme, imagine a room of 4 guys, and one guy suddenly breaks down and starts to sob and cry and wail cry, like really full out crying.
Deep emotional.
Deep emotional crying, and it's just amazing. Sometimes we'll just sit back and watch how it develops, and oftentimes they've got each other's back. the guy will step in and say, you know, it's okay to cry. We're here with you, and it's okay and safe to cry here. It just blows me away. Sometimes the first time that happened, I took the guy into a side, I let him go for about 3 minutes, and then I took him into a side room and was able to talk him down until he was ready to go back. Meanwhile, I find the other guys that were left in the main room helping each other, supporting each other, getting through the emotions of what they just experienced. It's powerful stuff.
Oh, it's the most powerful thing. And for me as a facilitator, the least we have to speak, the better the group is. That's always, the one thing is, if I can stand back, and Charlie and I can stand back and we watch the interaction, because it's very powerful that when someone is having a very difficult moment, an emotional outburst, and that we want to encourage them and not to feel shame, because sometimes people are very ashamed. They always apologize. So everybody's reaction, as soon as they start crying, I'm sorry. And it's like, no, this is your place. And we're all here holding you. We're holding that beautiful, safe place for you, and we're embracing you in whatever capacity we can on Zoom. And it's wonderful to see everybody's reaction, and everybody's holding that safe place together as a group. That to me is success, when you have that wonderful community all gathering together. Is there any questions, Maria, on this?
No questions on social. If anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to post them in the chat. And again, thank you for sharing all that you are sharing with us. For some, inner child is new to them, right? They maybe have never heard of inner child as they're watching on Facebook or Twitter. So feel free to post any questions or comments you may have for our facilitators here today, or any reflection that you have on anything that's been shared thus far, and only share what you feel comfortable and safe sharing online.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Maria. I want to just share that after their first session with the women's group, I'm always sharing the women's group. This is the powerful part for me, is after their first meditation, and they've met their inner child and all that, because the inner child work is 3 weeks long. Sometimes we've extended it, depending on the group and their needs and everything else. But it's really, really powerful. The comments that we've had is that it was always like a big breath, as we check out and we make sure that everybody's feeling good, that the most common comments are always, well, oof, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And oh, I feel such relief, and I think sometimes the fear is bigger than what the actual event, and it's like many things in our lives. We build up this anxiety, just like Bob and I presenting here today, we build up this anxiety, of like, oof, are we going to do an okay job? Is this going to be a good presentation and all that? And then afterwards you go, wow, that was great. No matter what the outcome was, there's a great relief afterwards, is that I can do this. This is good. They've got me. We've all got each other in this whole process.
There's a question here from Richard. Is inner child work connecting memories and emotions? It is partially connecting memories and emotions. That's a tough one to answer, I think. How about you, Lucy? You got any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, because you are opening something that has been, I look at the at survivors. I always look at them like in the big bottle with a big cork on top, and that's some of them for many years have had that cork pop so tight, and it's like to open that up and try to open it up, not too big at a time, but just a little bit of release at a time. So with this work that they're doing with their healing and the program, it's so well organized and divided that it allows things to open up a little bit, and the inner child does bring those emotions. It will open emotions up, and they're not all necessarily warm and fuzzy rainbows and everything else emotions, because we can't bullshit our way through that one. It's a hard one. It's hard work. Yes, Bob?
The other side of the connecting memories and emotions is coming to an understanding that when we get triggered and we have a strong emotion, very often that emotion is the child's emotion. that we're experiencing. And connecting back with the child is part of it is realizing that, wow, I'm not reacting to what's actually happening here. I'm reacting to what happened to me when I was 12.
Yeah. It's
And
the
that
residual.
realization then begs the question for people, why is it still, why am I still feeling like I'm 12? And that's where the inner child work helps us go back, identify this stuff, and reassure our younger selves that are reacting that it's okay, that you are okay. You know, 99.9% of the time, if we're here in the now, we are okay, right?
Yeah.
Glad we helped you, Richard.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, the reconnecting with emotions. And just to add to that, myself, just my personal experience in my growth and reconnecting with the inner child has helped me understand and forgive myself, because I for so many years, I couldn't understand the volatile reactions throughout, like especially in my 20s, when we're still very young in our 20s. We feel so mature in our 20s and our 30s, but as survivors, I realize now that there was a lot of my reactions through those years that were so volatile and so angry were actually the 14-year-old that got groomed. It's the 14-year-old that's fighting. It's that little, I'm a little street fighter, like that little, yeah, everything has to be reacted that way. Not violent, but the behavior was that way. My reactions were not that of a well put together 20-year-old. It's all good. Let's process this calmly and all that. No, it was always reactive. And now I find that understanding all of this, I've been able to forgive myself. And even sharing with my sons, I have 3 adult sons, and sharing with my sons, there was times, remember how I was like that? And I said, that's the process. That was the process. And I'm sorry. I've already forgiven myself, but I just want to share with you that that's what was going on. And it's always communicating also with the people, your surroundings and all that. That's part of it as a survivor also, to share with them that, your new discoveries and that has happened to you, and how you are now processing and understanding that behavior was not directed at them, that it was you not knowing how to properly react, that it was a 14-year-old that was reacting, or a 3-year-old, and all that. So thank you.
There's a
Thank
question, Bob and Lucy, in your work helping members reach their inner child work and healing is not linear. And it's linear to a point in that the program of 15 weeks is set out in a certain order so that we deal each week with a different thing. Inner child work is weeks 6, 7, and 8. We do 3 weeks of it. So it's linear in that respect. But recovery is not linear at all. We show pictures that, you think I want to get from here and I should do it here up to there.
you.
But actually, you're going to go forward, you're going to go back, you're going to go up, you're going to go down. We tell people it's going to take time, and you're going to have to be patient with yourself. But if you do the work, you will see the change. It'll be gradual. How many years did you walk into the bush? How long is it going to take you to walk out? That type of
I
an
like
approach.
that. I like that.
And so, yeah, it's not linear at all as far as the reactions and the healing path. It's up, down, but you can see if you check at this point and you look 6 months later and think about how you were 6 months ago, you can see the difference, even though you've been all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Gradually, gently, a step at a time, things get better.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And that brings us to the work, just a little bit of a, description of the work and what goes on with it. And this opens up that door for us to start talking about it. So Bob.
Yeah, in the manual, there's some paradoxical ideas or questions that are listed, and I'm going to read them to you. First one is, you must go back in order to move forward. That also is an answering about the linear part of the process. You got to go back and heal yourself before you can move forward. The next one, you must grieve your past so that one day you will find future happiness. You must get angry and unforgiving in the short term to find forgiveness and peace in the long term. Healing your inner child requires T&T, time and tears. Take the time. Recovery is at the pace that you need it to be. And we tell people, trust yourself. Only you know what you need, really what you really need. There's a question here. This is Stephen asking, is severe traumatic medical treatment being in gay conversion in the 50s as a child considered abuse? I think abuse is abuse. You know, we call it child sexual abuse, but there's all kinds and forms of abuse which needs recovery, and we deal with those as well. Sometimes in the program, we've had people come in that don't really feel they were sexually abused, but they know something's wrong. And we take a look and we go back and find that. We've had amazing results with some guys. That one guy in particular I'm thinking about, just one day it was like a light went on and he just realized, I am going to change the way I live. And he did. Boom.
Nice.
You know.
Nice.
So as far as, like, we are not clinicians, so talking specifically about the gay conversions in the 50s, I understand they are horrific experiences. And if we run into those, we deal with them. But we are lay people. We are peer support workers. We're sharing our own experience with others that are in the similar circumstances, similar places in their life. So anyway, we're not trained to really get into the nuts and bolts of that, but we try what we can. We do what we can.
And we can reach out to resources also, help
That's
guide.
right.
We guide. So that's part of our role as peer supporters, is to reach out and find resources for our survivors. That, you know, if we don't have the capacity to deal with that, or the knowledge to deal with that, we will reach out to an organization, a sister organization, and reach out and try to connect the two of them together for
Somebody
additional
that can help them. That's
yes,
right.
someone that can help them. That's their specialty. So, and we can, you know, it doesn't have to be a psychiatrist or therapist. There's many community resources that we can link to and connect our own partners in that, and just keep out, you know, just looking. This is what I'm looking for. What do you have? Do you know anybody? And it's a wonderful system because we get to connect with other people and find out what's out there. Maria, do you have that? Do you encounter that at the Gatehouse?
I haven't personally, but in my own personal opinion, I would consider any of those camps or treatment, using that as here, it's
yeah.
not treatment at all. Definitely emotional and psychological abuse. That's my own personal.
Absolutely.
Because it
Absolutely.
is suppression of your authentic self. You're being told that you're not something that you are, and you know, gay people are people.
Yes.
Why do we have to convert anybody, really? It's being our authentic self, and the inner child work helps to reconnect to that authentic self that was lost because of the trauma, because of the abuse, and whatever that abuse is: sexual abuse, emotional, psychological, physical. There are many forms of abuse, neglect, and again, that's forced repression of your authentic self. My personal opinion.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Maria. And I do know someone who's very close to me, is a friend of a friend, to keep things very confidential. And he unfortunately was forced into one of those treatment programs. And unfortunately, it did cause a great deal of damage and all that, but is now a wonderful young man. He's healed well and all that. But it was interesting when I did meet the parents, I could see we were both saying goodbye to our own children and that. And when I looked in her eyes, I could see the sadness and the tears and the guilt in that split second. Such a different feeling than what I have with my own son, which was a very accepting and loving home. So it really is a horrible thing. It is abuse. It is abuse. But I just want to add that the parents who did this didn't know better. Many times that's what happens. They're told by their church or their environment, and it's not out of unkindness or anything like that. It's being misled is what has happened to many of these people. So I try not to judge the parents of anybody who was doing that. It's just moving forward.
Yeah, and we deal with what we have to deal with now.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So the beauty of inner child work allows you to connect with your inner child, because we need to love the child and grieve the pain that we suffered, that we've kept this all bottled up for years. So to help your inner child understand that they are not responsible for what happened and that they are safe now, and they're no longer alone now, which is huge. And they can speak up, they can find their voice. It's important to parent your inner child, because they've been driving the bus, and kids shouldn't be driving buses, right? To understand the different children's behaviors and coping mechanisms that they developed in order to protect and soothe the pain, and that those are not needed anymore. You're now safe, and you can parent yourself now. We have one guy, he used to talk about his different children, and he would refer to them as his community of assholes. And they'd all start speaking up and saying different things and arguing in his head. And there goes the community again.
Yeah, I love that.
We have a lot of fun. It's hard work. We have a lot of pain. We have a lot of emotions, but we have a lot of fun too in the men's groups. I think maybe you do in the women's. I hope you do in the women's groups too.
It's the beautiful thing about it, just to add to that, is, as from what you just said, the comment about the community of assholes, is the wonderful sense of humor. It's like, it's very dark, at times. It's very twisted, the sense of humor, but it's very welcomed in the group. It's like you're free to share. So there's like you said, there's a lot of fear, anxiety, all the emotions, but also there's a lot of laughter, and laughter is also a wonderful release. As tears are a great release, laughter is also a wonderful release.
Absolutely. The other thing that you can reach through the inner child work is forgiveness. A lot of people blame themselves for what happened. And helping them reach it and seeing and meeting their inner child, they realize they were only a child. And so often we'll work with photographs of themselves as a child, and they can connect to that little person so they can understand how small they were. How can you continue to blame yourself for something when you were just a little kid? It takes them a long time sometimes to realize that, but it's important that they do.
Can I just add one thing there, Bob?
Absolutely.
I just want to share.
You're the boss.
Yeah, no. one of my male survivors that I was supporting, his reaction. So when you read that, it just came right back to me, was his sharing. He goes, "Do you know what shocked me as I was looking at the picture was how small I was. Out such a small little boy. I'd forgotten how small I was, because now when I was through all this time remembering and all that, I'm judging and I'm shaming myself. Why didn't you do something? Why didn't you, you're a male, you can do that. And now when I see this picture, it's so helped me forgive myself for all those thoughts, all those years, because I was just a little boy."
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going back to read from our manual. We have a list of John Bradshaw lists these rules to teach your inner child. Number one is it's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay to want what you want. It's okay to see and hear what you see and hear. It's okay and it's necessary to have lots of fun and play. It's essential to tell the truth always, especially to yourself, right? It's important to know your limits and to delay gratification some of the time. It's crucial to develop a balanced sense of responsibility. It's okay to make mistakes. Other people's feelings and needs and wants are to be respected and valued. I would add a caveat to that, but you don't let them run your life.
Mm.
And finally, it's okay to have problems. You know, problems are what make us change. If there was nothing wrong, why would we ever change? We have to have some discomfort to make it worth the change.
Thank you, Bob.
Lucy.
And growth is painful.
Growth is
There's-
painful.
It's scary and it's painful, but it's so beautiful. It is such a beautiful. So I just want to take, as we're wrapping up, I want to just move into the being a kid again and the joy of it and finding that again. So, and from our manual, what Lucia Capiccioni's book, Recovery of Your Inner Child, describes as that childlike feeling, sensitivity, wonderment, and aliveness. Basically, it's the recovery of our true self and shedding the phony mask we wear. The beauty of finding that joy again, to be a kid, to have fun, whatever it is that you need to do, finding those things as children. Sometimes we've forgotten what it is. For me, I have a couple of things in the summertime when there's no kids in the park. I'm lucky enough to have a park right in front of my house. I like to go sit on the swings, and I do that, but I do it as I did as a child, which is looking up so that I don't see the surroundings. So I lay down on the swing, and if you can imagine, and you swing up and that, but all I can see are the clouds. And that's what I used to do as a child. So I'm only seeing the clouds, and I'm right back to being a little girl at the park on the swing, just losing myself. Another thing that I do is in the wintertime, and I've shared that with a few people, and they've tried it and thought it was great, but they were not the survivors, is snow angels. We've forgotten the joy of just dropping back into the snow, not worrying about your hair or getting snow in your collar or in your boots or in your sleeves, because that's the joy of doing that snow angel, is to get that snow. As soon as you start getting that snow and you went, oh my God, I remember that as a child. And then jumping up and looking down and looking at your beautiful snow angel. I shared that with a male survivor that I was supporting, and the most beautiful gift that he gave me, he gave himself the gift, but he gave it back to me, was on one Monday morning, I opened my phone and there's a picture of a snow angel. So over the weekend, he was walking his dog, and he's not a person that would ever have jumped down and done that. He shared with me, I made sure there was no neighbors around that could see me, but he did drop down, did a full snow angel, took a picture and sent it to me. And that was like such a moving moment for me, as I'm sure it was for him. So with that, that's how I would like to end our part.
I would like to talk about what I do for fun. May I?
I'd love to hear what you do. And I want to hear what Maria does for fun.
Well, I'm semi-retired now. I work part-time for Voice Found, but we 4 years ago decided to move out of the city and move to a lake. We wanted to live on the water in our retirement. And we took the plunge and did it. So what I like to do is go down on my dock and close my eyes and just feel the wind, hear the waves coming in and rippling under the dock and coming onto the shore, watching the birds and natures and turtle and fish and all that type of stuff. I've also got a little 14-foot aluminum boat that I like to putt around the lake on. So I'll go out and I'll cruise around the lake, and that brings me back to my childhood, and especially when I go fishing with my grandkids. It's just playing with my grandkids like that brings me right back to being a kid again. How about you, Maria?
Thanks for sharing, Bob. Thanks, Lucy. Lucy, you brought back a memory of making snow angels, and I was trying not to let the tears flow out too much. I was like, okay, hold on, hold on. And then I thought the next time I do that, I will text you a picture, Lucy. So I'm glad that
Oh, wonderful.
used to do that. Definitely like reading a good book, sitting by a pool, enjoying sunshine. Me too, Lucy, with sitting on the swing and looking up at the clouds. I can't do the flip off the swing anymore. My knees.
No, I don't either. No,
I do get a little dizzy too when I do that, but I did do that a couple of years ago, and I say a couple of years has been a while because of pandemonium. But I'm a big Trekkie fan. I love Star Trek, anything to do with Star Trek. And Bob, you brought up fishing. I find fishing the most peaceful activity because it's so quiet, even with the kids, right? Like they're getting frustrated that their little hooks aren't working or whatever, and we're fixing it for them. But once you're out there on the lake just fishing, it's amazing. It's so peaceful. It's such a beautiful way to connect with nature. Anything to do with nature, not any rigorous activity. I can't do that anymore, but like just a walk, walking, taking in the sights without taking photos, just walk and observe and let yourself be present in that moment. This has been such an inspirational session. I feel like I was in a peer support session. I feel like we were in a group with one another and other folks in the room joining us. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who's on social media watching us live as well. I'm wondering if there are any questions or comments for the presenters or about the program. It's modeled after the Gatehouse program, but they have taken it and created even more support for survivors within the Voice Found system or programs. I'm wondering, Lucy, if you can mention a little bit about other work that Voice Found does as well for folks who are not familiar with your agency, some of the medical work, some of the other stuff that's happening.
Yes, I'd love to share that. So Voice Found also has an anti-human trafficking. So that's how the Voice Found started. It was everything about sexual exploitation to prevent, educate, and help anyone that is being trafficked, help get them out of it. So we have an emergency exit program. It is all on our website at voicefound.ca. Anybody can go in there and reach out for assistance and help. So we do that. There's the extension of that, the anti-human trafficking, where we work alongside with many different organizations, anti-human trafficking, and we work hand in hand with the anti-human trafficking team at the Ottawa Police also. We also have a wonderful clinic specifically geared to our survivors of human trafficking. This is a safe place for them to go and get all the help that they need without having identification, because that's the biggest problem with anybody that is being trafficked. They lose all identification, their OHIP, their ID, everything. They have nothing. So in order for them to be able, they don't have to be exiting, they can get our services, so they can get vaccines, flu shots, all examinations, all types of cares, contraceptions, everything we cover that is possible within our organization.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. I see their comment. Thank you so much. Very insightful presentation. Thank you. Great presentation. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Bob, love your response, especially to that recovery is not linear.
And thank you very much, Maria, for inviting us. I've enjoyed it very much. It's been a great opportunity.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. If there are no comments, I'll thank you. Thanks so much, Kelsey. Thank you. All right. You can catch this presentation on our Facebook page. It'll be there. The link is shareable. I couldn't tag you, Lucy, but I did tag Voice Found. So
Thank
please
you.
do share with others. And I will send the links of the other presentations to you, Bob, if you want to share with your male survivors. There's
Thank
quite an
you.
insightful presentation with male survivors on Monday that I think will be really helpful with the inner child stuff, especially.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
Thanks,
Definitely.
everyone.
Thank you.